Hi everyone, NG here. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be looking at pivot tables and pivot charts. Why do we need them and what it does? Now, why pivot tables are great tools in Excel that helps us to organize, summarize, and analyze large amounts of data so that we can quickly make our business decisions. Pivot chart, on the other hand, provides us with the graphical representations of the data in their associated pivot tables. Pivot tables are very important to help us to filter, sort, group, and then enable us to focus on what is important to us or the information that is important to us. Now, having said that, let's jump right into the video. On the screen, you can see we have this data about it's a sales record of different shoes sold by XYZ shoe company. Okay, so we have column that contains the item, that is the shoe type, the state it was sold, the unit price, the product cost per unit, units sold, sales date, units returned for those goods that were returned by people that purchased them, the date they were returned, total sold, total cost, and then profit. Now, from this table, we want to summarize and analyze different sets of data. For instance, we want to know how much was sold per sale item or per shoe type within the given period that this report covers. We also would like to know how much was sold per state in the same period. And then we also would like to know how much was returned per shoe type and how much profit was made per shoe type. These different data sets will help us to make informed decisions about our sales strategies, our marketing strategies, and so on. To start with, we have, like I said, this table is represents sales record for XYZ shoe company. So we are going to make it into a table. So to do that, we just select any cell inside the record set or the data set, and then go to insert, which is already highlighted, and click on table. So now the whole table has been selected, and of course we check my table has headers because our table has headers, and click on OK. So we now have a table. Okay, so the table name, if you go to the first tab under design, you have the table name is table 2. We can decide to call the table anything, rename it, or call it anything we want. Okay, so having done that, let us go ahead and create our first pivot table. To create our first pivot table, also we'll now select any cell in our newly created table, and then we'll also go to insert, click on insert, and under the charts tab, click on pivot chart, and then select pivot chart and pivot table. So I'm clicking on that. So this dialog box shows up, and that is the create pivot table dialog box, and it's asking for the table range. Of course, already we selected table 2. Table 2, if you remember, is the name of the table that we have created. So the data range is table 2, and it's also asking us where we want to place our pivot chart, our pivot table. So by default, it is selecting new worksheet, but I don't want to I don't want to place it in a new worksheet. I want it in this place that we are working, that's existing worksheet. So I choose existing worksheet, and then I'll go and choose the location, the exact location I want my pivot table to be placed. So I'm selecting this cell here, that is N2, and then I'll click on OK. So now we have a blank chart because I've not added any field to our table. So I'll start creating the table. So if you look at the far right corner, you see pivot chart fields. So these are the fields we are going to choose to create whatsoever table we want to create, and then analyze whatever data we want to analyze. So to start with, like I said, we want to know how much was sold per sales item or per shoe type. So to know that, we are going to click on item and select item and put it. It's already selected for us under Axis, this category Axis. And the next, we are going to select units that were sold and put them under values. Values are always numerical. Okay, so this is all we want to see in this place for now. So already a chart has been created for us for this pivot table that we've created. So if you look at the pivot table that we've created now, you can see that we have 3 different kinds of shoes that were sold: Lily girl shoe, Lotus girl shoe, and Rose girl shoe. So summarize the sum of the units sold summarizes the number of shoes that were sold in that given time. Okay, so we can sort this sum of units sold. We can sort it from largest to smallest. The moment I sort it, also the pivot table is also sorted from largest to smallest. So from this place, we can see that Rose girl shoes brought in the highest sales within this period of time we are analyzing. So it's at a glance, I know which of our products is doing very well in the market and which one is not doing as well in the market. Okay, so that is for this. Next, we want to know how much was sold per state for each of the states that we made sales or we did marketing. How much sales, what was the volume that came in from those states. So to do that again, we are going to select any cell in our data array that is our table, and then go to insert as well. Under the charts, we also go to pivot table and click on pivot chart and pivot table. Again, we're going to click on choose existing worksheet, and now we're going to let pivot table know where we want to place our table. So we're going to place this table right under the pivot chart for the first table we made, and then click OK. Again, we have a black chart number 2. We have a blank chart. So let's go ahead and add fields to our pivot table. So this time around, because we are analyzing how much sales that came in per state, we are going to choose the state, also drag it to the Axis category. So again, we made sales in 3 different states: California, Florida, and Texas. So again, we're going to choose units sold and put it in values to know how much sales that came in. If we sort this from largest to smallest, evidently Texas bear the largest sales or the highest sales. So that could be very useful for us in making our business decisions and knowing where to concentrate our marketing efforts. People that live in Texas, they love our products. That's what it means. Okay, so we have that done. Again, we also want to look at how much was returned per shoe type. So to do that, once more, we're going to select anywhere in our data set that is our table 2 and go to Insert, and under Pivot Table, click on Pivot Table and Pivot Chart, and also click on Existing Table, and then we go to select the cell where we want to put our table. Again, we are going to put this table under the last table we made and click on OK. So let's start adding the fields we want in the table. So remember, we are looking at how much was returned. In this case now, we're going to evaluate the items that was sold against what was returned, against which state that we made those returns from. So we're going to select item and put it here under axis, and going to select state and put them under legend, and then finally we are going to select units returned and put them under values. So let's see how our pivot table looks like. So now we have this pivot table that is categorized by the items that were sold against the states those items were sold, and then how much was returned or how many goods were returned per item. So from this data we have in front of us, it is evident that we returned Lily girl shoes had the highest rate of return from this place, and the highest rate of return came from Texas. Okay, so again, we'll resize our chart and then place it under the table. Like I told you, the chart is a graphical representation of the pivot tables or the associated pivot table. Okay, so lastly we want to know how much profit that was made by each shoe type. Again, we're going to select a cell in a data set and then go to Insert, Pivot Table, click on Pivot Chart and Pivot Table. Again, we're selecting existing worksheet. Let's put our cursor where we want. We're selecting a cell where we want our pivot table. All right. So in this case, we also select item. We select item, and then we select profit. I also like to select dates. So we can sales date. So we can look at profit against the dates, the sales date. So we now have the item and the dates they were. So the dates by default, Excel summarizes it by the month, the sales month. So we have January, February, and March. So for Lily shoes, from this pivot table that have been created, you can see that Lily shoes in January made sales made profit of $1,260, and then in February it was 1,230, and in March it was 2,355. Total is 4,845 total in that given period of time. So at a glance, I can analyze the data, and then the data is giving me back useful feedback, useful information for me to make my decisions. Okay, let's resize the chart, then also put it under the associated table. Okay, so we made the highest profit for all of the products in March. So that means our strategies are working. That in March there was highest sales and then highest profits. Okay, so now let's look at how we can modify the pivot table and the pivot chart. There are various ways we can modify the pivot table to make it look the way we want it to look. Okay, so for instance, for this pivot table, if I select anywhere on this pivot table, I can go to design. If I want to change the pivot table style, I can choose any style from here. So just watch what happens. Example, if I choose this style, so the style changes and so the color changes. I can choose another style. I can choose this, any style at all, to make it look the way I want it to look. Okay, I can also change the custom name for the column, okay, or the headers. So for sum of profits or for profit, I can change it by going to the values, and under the values I click sum of profit and go to value field change or value field settings, sorry. Then I can see the custom name here is sum of profit. Let's say that's not what I want to call it. I want to call it just profit or total profit. So you see, it changes the custom name in the table. Again, I can format these numbers, add the 1000 separator, add decimal points. I can also add the dollar sign. So for me to do that, click anywhere. For me to do that, I'll go to the same total profits that we used to generate the figures and go to value field setting. In value field setting, you see that sum was selected. So I'll go to format number, click on this box, and it opens up this format cells for me. I'll go to numbers, click on number, and check the use 1000 separator. Okay, and then the decimal places, I can leave it at 2, and then click on OK. Click on OK. So you see what happens. So the 1000 separator is there, so it also helps us to analyze our data efficiently. Again, I might want to add the dollar sign or whatever currency sign I'm working with. I'll also go back to total profits where we generated this numbers from and click on value field setting. Go back to number setting, and then we go to currency. So the symbol, we look for the symbol of dollar. Okay, it can be any one of it, whether it's Canadian, US, but let it be symbol of dollar. For instance, I can choose Canada dollar and click OK. Click OK. So again, I have the dollar symbol or currency symbol affixed to all the numbers. Okay. Now let's look at how we can modify our chart. We can change the chart type by simply right-clicking on the chart. Again, go to change chart type and click on that. So you have a number of templates or chart type you can use. You can decide to make it bar or pie or line. Any of this is okay. Column, that's the one we are using before. So let's say we want to make it now bar chart. So click on OK. So you now see how our chart looks like now. Okay, let's go back. Type. I want it to be column, and this kind of column now. Okay, so you can see how it is now. So our chart is looking different. Okay, we can still modify this style or this chart type, modify it with different styles of it. So we click on this box here and then go to, we can choose any one. For instance, I want to choose this, or I want to choose the one that has numbers. Okay. Any one of these is fine. Any one of that is fine. So we have different styles of this chart type that we can use. You can choose whichever one you want, and already it is implemented. Okay. We can still modify our chart further by adding a chart title. You can add a chart title. So click on the chart and go to design. Click on design and go to add chart elements, and then click on chart title. Click on that. So it will ask us where we want to add it. Is above. It's not centered overlay, is above. So you can just add that chart. Call it profit chart. Another way we can modify our chart is to remove all these labels that we don't want to see. We can remove them, hide all these buttons by hiding them. So to do that, we right click on any of them and go to hide all field buttons on the chart. So you see, I click on that and they are all gone. So the only thing we are seeing here is the title of the chart. So these are the ways you can modify your chart and your pivot table and make it look exactly the way you want it to look. If you like this video and if it is informative for you, please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to click on the notification button so that every time we drop this kind of videos, you'll be notified. Thank you.